guess I can't check to see, but you know what? We're just gonna go with it, right?
Just gonna go with it. Wait, check and see what we got.
Yeah, check and see if we're live.
We're live right now. It's a little too late for any mistakes, but thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Let's. You can do a check. See if we're both in the picture.
I can't.
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. I can.
It's a weird angle. We have a two shot. You can do a check. See if we're both in the picture. Are we both in the picture?
Somehow you squeeze me in there.
Let's see what we got. Yeah. It's great. It's great. All right. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us again tonight. Yeah, another Tuesday night. Why don't we go ahead and get started?
T?
Yep.
You turned yourself down again.
Did I do it because of the volume from the show?
Yeah, go. I would just turn off the. Yeah, turn him. Ooh, yeah, that's good stuff. All right, here we go. Welcome back to Tuesday night. Appreciate you guys giving us a watch and a listen as we talk about the greatest high school sports conference in the land. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo. He's Kevin Ricca.
I'm so happy to be back here. Missed a week, felt like a month, but we had some serious business to attend to over in Forestville.
Yes,
and
we did.
I think everyone that was present attended to their business that evening.
Speaking of serious business, we are joined remotely by a man with some very good news to share with everybody. T, you there?
I love it when you call me Big Papa.
All right. That's definitely going to be like we'll pull that out and freeze it and use that.
That exists for eternity.
Forever.
But
congratulations, my friend.
Appreciate it, man.
Dad all over again.
Got my dad all over again. I got that boy I've been looking for, Luke Stephen Strachan, 6 pounds 13 ounces. It's been an awesome few days for us, man. It's been great. Baby's been awesome. Leslie's been a trooper. She's been a soldier through the whole thing. The other girls, Sophie and Olivia, they've been huge help. It's been great.
That sounds awesome, man. I'd like to offer my welcome to the youngest member of the WCAC.
Yes.
Welcome, baby Luke.
Has he gotten an offer yet from McGregor?
Not yet. I'm a little upset about that, by the way.
Yeah, what's going on, Bill? Come on, coach. You've had like 3 days. I mean, what's going on here? All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We thought that it would be a good time to spend the evening, focus a little bit on the babyface members of the WCAC, the freshmen. We have the WCAC is great because, like so many, it's full of the kind of team that you're used to seeing in college that doesn't just go away after they graduate some players and wait for some new people to develop. Everyone's bringing in people that can play. Right now, we saw the most obvious example of that, I think, this year is at Paul VI on the basketball team. They're undefeated in the conference, nationally ranked again.
Back in the mix at 25 on Max Preps. Yes, congratulations, Paul VI. That's huge.
Lost both of their world beater guards.
I like to say they lost 9 stars worth of backcourt before the season even opened. I mean, and anyone else in that position, it's curtains.
And Doug Martin said preseason, he's like, hey, if there's a team that can overcome it, it's Paul VI. I had a hard time buying that.
Sure.
And yet he was dead on right.
He must have known something about the Frosh sensation, Doug McDaniel.
What's his nickname? I thought it was like
Doug is his nickname.
Doug is his nickname.
Yes,
Okay.
I think it's not Nasir. That's his first name.
Doug is his nickname.
Knasir, I believe. Someone at me if I'm wrong. But Doug is his nickname, and he gets it. He gets it in, man. He's a 5'9". He's a slasher. He finishes at the rim. The point guard for the Wizards we were talking about, Rod Strickland, is kind of who he kind of resembles a tad bit. But listen, he is just a pup. He has not developed yet, but his on-court presence and awareness is nasty. The quicks, he hits the open shot. He gets to the basket and finishes strong. He's a creative, crafty guy with a little English around the rim. I mean, they're loving his game over there. You know, Paul VI lost no regular season games last year, haven't yet this year.
Yep.
And he's a big, huge reason why. And the national press gave him a huge Slam magazine featuring him on their Twitter page for his double-double against Cesar Chavez this past week. You know, the kid's a stud, and good Lord, we have another 3.5 seasons of this guy.
Came in ready to play. There's no such thing as one and done in high school. One guy shows up, he's here for 4, if we're lucky, you know, in the WCAC and in that school. So that'll be exciting. I mean, Paul VI, everyone expected them to have a down year after they lost Ant and
Harris and Jeremy Roach go down. You know, man, that's that's arguably the best backcourt in the nation out for the season.
Yep.
I mean,
but thankfully for them, I mean, I hate to not get a chance to watch them selfishly for myself, but thankfully they'll be completely ready to go next year. You know, I don't know. It's never good to get injured. I'm not suggesting that it is, but I was trying to think about that today. Is it better to get injured like the way they did, where they, you know, they're ready, 100% ready for next season, whatever it comes for them, wherever they're going to be.
Only one of them will be coming back to play.
That's right.
Next season, but yeah, I don't know. We'll find out.
The other one's going somewhere else to play.
They'll know.
They're going to the next level, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you figure it out as it goes. I missed my senior football season and played my senior basketball season, but I wasn't. I hated missing my senior football season.
Mm-hmm.
I was certainly happy, just the way these guys hate to miss any season. When you're a senior, you deserve to have that curtain call, I think. So, you know, T, you know, you've got a little familiarity with this situation. Missing that senior year was no good.
Yeah, I never got to play in my senior football, basketball, or anything. You know, and that's something that when I go back and talk to these kids, sometimes I tell them, you know, I had guys come back and say, you never know when your last game's going to be, and you really don't. But, you know, I try to go back and tell kids about that same thing. That's how you want to approach the game. That's how you want to approach life. And it's certainly something that I missed out on, having that senior year, you know, the nostalgia and everything of being a senior and all that stuff. And, you know, it's unfortunate when injuries play a factor in this game, but it is pretty impressive what Paul VI has been able to do despite the challenges they've been faced with.
Got themselves right back in a national contention. Number 2 in the area around here and 25 in the nation. You know, you got to give a big shout out to that coaching staff, to that program, you know, to be able to sustain 2 knockout blows and not get the TKO or the KO.
Yep.
And to be delivering that punch elsewhere. I mean, that's sick.
I was trying to think, going back to the football championship day, if any freshmen that stood out on the field that day. Gonzaga and DeMatha, probably Gonzaga had more younger guys, you know, playing. I'm guessing. I mean, Gonzaga's returning, you know, five offensive linemen, you know, for their senior year.
Gonzaga's offense is coming back intact. They lose the 2 senior wideouts.
Yeah.
That's no easy loss.
Not too many baby faces at the top on offense, anyways, for them.
I think one of the guys that kind of surprised us the most, young guys, was that I think it was Joshua Williams, right, from Gonzaga.
I was just gonna say that. That was the only one I could think of. Now he was a sophomore,
Yep.
but I met him in the middle of the field after a game, and I thought I was meeting somebody's kid brother who had played. I mean, he's a big guy. Don't get me wrong. But he looks like, you know, a 14-year-old. He's got he's got the baby face, and you know he was bigger than me, you know, which isn't saying much, but it gets lost in you sometimes, especially when you watch the football, you know, the football games, helmets. You don't see faces, you just see size. Strength,
those boys
speed.
play like men.
They play like men.
You forget that they're 14 to 18 years old.
Exactly, and I was, you know, and not, you know. Josh Williams, one of the nicest kids. You know, we met in person.
Yeah, great kid, great parents, great family.
So, other than, you know, couple, I guess, on the basketball side, I wanted to, you know, first of all, I want to remind everybody of 2 things. One, we saw an amazing game last Tuesday night at Bishop McNamara, where the Mustangs hosted the Cadets. Two top-ranked top-ranked national programs. St. John's won in overtime, and it was a great performance. AZ Fudd came on late and did what she does. The St. John's core starting 5 just were great from the beginning to the end. They didn't get tired. It didn't seem like they got tired at the end. Everything they were trying to do in the first quarter, they were still getting it done in the fourth quarter and overtime. Hats off to Coach Scribner. I know the McNamara girls. Hey, they didn't take it well, which I'm happy about because they want a chance to get it back, and they will get that chance on February 9th. Not this Saturday, but next Saturday at St. John's. First Amendment Sports will be there, calling that rematch, and then we'll be at St. John's again on the 12th, calling the boys' game, St. John's and DeMatha. And those are the regular season games we have lined up prior to the conference tournament at American University at the end of February.
I'm wondering if teams are starting to figure out the fact that we have it within the contract that the games have to go into overtime.
Yeah, it's
when we cover them.
You see that logo, it kicks everything into overdrive, and everyone plays to the best of their abilities. And what we have in this conference is the most able-bodied humans that play sports. And yes, it goes to overtime when that happens. It's awesome.
I couldn't believe it when it went to overtime. I mean, it was a great game, and great players were playing in the game. It didn't have the championship feel because it wasn't a championship, but it had the feel of two heavyweights, battling it out.
I mean, it had the feel of absolute the two of the best in the country. We could see it in the parking lot, in the hallway, hours and hours before the game. It was relentless how many people were trying to figure out how to get inside to catch a peek of what was going to happen. What an awesome atmosphere. Next time, I think they'll play that somewhere else, perhaps, because you could have doubled that attendance. And
easily.
Shout out to all the people at McNamara.
But you don't want to give away your home court advantage either.
I agree. I get that. All the people
McNamara took full advantage of, with 95% of the crowd being McNamara folks.
Yeah.
They tried. I know Tony Johnson tried to get that game at a different venue because he kind of left us saying, "Hey, let us tell you it's TBD. We're working on a place to put this game." They knew it was going to be. They filled up 2 gyms at McNamara to watch this game. They filled the second gym on the other side of the parking lot, and they were actually coming back and telling us, they had real time feedback for us, from across the parking lot during the game, which was cool. I was just checking out my roster from the championship game, just trying to make sure my boy Will Stoney, not a freshman, he's a sophomore. Just shout out to Will Stoney. I was actually, I can't forget about my boy from O'Connell, number 28, who I will for the rest of my life.
You want to talk to him for me, or what are we doing here?
Don't worry. I knew he was a young guy. I just couldn't remember if he was a freshman or sophomore. The top of the league on the boys' side for basketball at the DeMatha Stags. I mean, they're not starting any freshmen.
No, but a freshman was supposed to start tonight against DeMatha. We were supposed to see that 11-0 versus DeMatha versus 10-0 Paul VI tonight. Snowed out, rescheduled. I haven't noticed when it was going to be rescheduled. Hopefully soon. I know St. John's and Gonzaga were snowed out tonight as well. They're going to resume this contest on Thursday. But we were looking at 4-5 and 1-2 going at it tonight. It was going to be a huge Tuesday. So instead, hopefully everyone's kicked back, relaxing, getting some little resting some muscles, listening to First Amendment on the iPad or on the TV or whatever have you. But man, I was excited to talk about that matchup.
Yeah.
Was Paul VI going to finally go down? Was DeMatha going to lose their first in conference? I mean, what a huge contest, and that's coming up for us. And now we can finally say it. It's league time. There might be one more out-of-league contest.
Is there? There might be. There might be 5 for all we know. And every time I look up, someone's playing like a tournament.
I took a peek at it.
McDonald's.
It's pretty certain that it is February is WCAC time.
Okay.
There might be 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 teams that have one game scheduled late due to the imbalanced schedule. You're playing 20 games.
Yep.
And right now, St. John's has played 13, whereas O'Connell has only played 9. So, O'Connell's got a couple to make up, and St. John's has got some gaps to fill. So, we'll see. I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying St. John's has an out of schedule, but I think there are a couple teams with the late game. But forget about it. It's WCAC time. We're a little bit past the 50% halfway point of league play, and now it's when it gets down. Now it's when it gets dirty, and now it's when, you could be in 4th place or 9th place in a matter of a week.
It's tight rankings. I was trying to think in my head what would be like a great the only mid-season tournament that I can't think of, and I was inspired by a commercial I saw today. I can't think of where the closest Denny's is to us, guys, and if anyone can help me out, please help
There's
me.
one in Gaithersburg, Maryland, yes.
Gaithersburg, is that the closest
Yes.
Denny's?
On Montgomery Village Avenue.
The Super Slampler, their newest slam, the Denny's Super Slampler. It's French toast and pancakes. Really, that's the dream. I can't believe it took them this long to get there. French toast, pancakes, eggs, breakfast meat. I don't know if they're putting some potatoes on the side of that or not, but I'm going with it.
They're definitely putting some on there.
They better.
But I don't know how we got here.
Because I think this Super Slampler.
But French toast and pancakes seems unnecessary.
Oh, it's. Well,
I prefer French toast to pancakes, so have at it.
I do too.
All right. Well, I think we're in the minority.
They're mutually exclusive breakfast items.
But I am the guy who goes to the diner and spends and overpays because they a la carte me. Even at the Tasty Diner, I'm like, listen, here's what I want. I want a short stack of pancakes, and I want a small order of French toast. And then, yes, throw some eggs and scrapple on the side. You can hold the potatoes.
Hey, look, man.
$20.
Are you wearing the shorts that DJ Harvey wore against Duke last night on national television?
I'm saying that would be a
you
great.
Get a little bit too much squeezed up around.
T.
Have a breakfast comment here, or tell me you saw DJ Harvey on national television last night. Listen, I don't want any trouble.
I did not see him on. I'm not watching a whole lot of television, to be honest.
I get it. That's why I
Good
said
answer.
it.
Good answer.
But I might have to go to the social networks to find this out.
Check it out.
Now that I'm intrigued.
Mike Bray, one of our favorite DeMatha guys, is coaching DJ, a sophomore from DeMatha, and they were playing the Blue Devils, and I was checking it out, and man, the texts were flooding me. It was nonstop. What is he doing? Who's this guy? I said, that's
short shorts are coming back.
No.
These weren't short
I don't
shorts.
think you understand.
These were like hemmed. They're like Gordon Gartrell shorts. They were like or like made by Denise. They're completely like tucked into his socks on one end, and on the other side, I was like hiked all the way. It was bad.
Have you ever seen him, a 6'7" man in Daisy Dukes, play basketball on national television?
It was awkward. It was an awkward looking picture.
So, nothing against the Stags or DJ. He's a heck of a player, and he played pretty good last night. And he's going to be better and better and better coming off last year's knee injury, and he's starting to heat up a little bit. Him and Prentice Hub from Gonzaga were pretty nasty. And Notre Dame didn't have the firepower for the Blue Devils, but those two guys kind of showed out, like WCAC guys usually do on center stage. Prentice Hub had some nasty. He was like, it reminded me of Travis Best for you ACC fans. He got in there lefty. He was breaking ankles and stroking threes. I think he was 3 for 7. Scored 13 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds, something like that. But the kid played great, and I think that was his best offensive output, probably on the biggest stage they've had all season. But there's a lot of short texts, lots of them.
I mean, you're going to be on national TV playing against Duke. You might want to bring your A game, shorts wise.
And he did in his world. And you know what? I know T used to wear the booty shorts. So did you. So did I. But that wasn't by choice.
No, those were the ones that came out of the shed.
Those are factory issues.
I didn't have a choice. They were one size fit all, and I was just bigger than everybody else. They looked tighter.
Who made y'all's? Was it Champion or Russell?
Champion for DeMatha, yeah.
I think we were Champion at McNamara too when I was there
back in the day.
We were Puma and then Champion.
Okay. Was Russell?
Why did Champion have such a run on everybody back in the 90s?
I don't know, but they're bringing it back, just like the booty shorts.
Yeah.
The Champion's all over the place. I went to the mall. The C symbols, it's on hoodies. It's back in business. And I wish I saved all my gear. What are we doing?
I know I'm going to buy some Champion gear. I mean, I have to at least buy one Champion thing just out of nostalgia. I'll wear it when I go order the Super Slampler. Yeah,
I am happy to say that I have a pair of 25-year-old Chuck Taylors.
Oh, that's great.
The low cut blues.
The low cut blues.
Yeah.
Is it too early to for Luke? Are you like making him favor his left hand yet? Like kind of tying his right arm down?
Right now, from what I can tell, he's definitely ambidextrous.
Okay, fair enough. That's great.
He's an exceptional child, actually. The nurse even said in the hospital.
There's a lot of coaches listening to you. I mean, you do talk. Yeah. Go ahead, talk up that game.
No, he's exceptional. I'm telling you.
Hard worker, up at the crack of dawn.
Absolutely.
He is up at the crack of dawn.
Yeah.
A couple all-nighters probably already for him. Let's see. We had some exceptional news in the WCAC this week.
Yeah,
since the last time we were here doing this.
Hey, I'm going to try and get through this quickly, but there's all kinds of exciting stuff happening, and we'll start off. My man T had a baby boy this week. Why not just stay with that DeMatha theme?
Best thing.
James Brown hosting his 9th Super Bowl. Now, this year's for CBS, but how spectacular is that guy?
Is he in the booth? He's going to be in the
He's the host of the game day. He's
okay, because
Romo's
he's an
absolutely
he's an absolutely unbelievable broadcaster, but an even better person. The man. It's almost hard to even understand how hard he works and all the things that he does, and it's not just in television. I mean, he's a pastor, a minister. He's truly an amazing guy, and all the success he has had has been hard earned. For sure.
I was distraught when he left Fox, when because to me and T and Kevin, you guys probably remember this when we were kids, the iconic football music I always thought was the CBS countdown to kickoff, Brent Musburger doing the national game, and then
Irv Cross.
But then when we got into our high school years and into college, Fox really became. I mean, Fox for people who don't know this, Fox didn't even start until we were kids. I mean, Fox as a network didn't even start till the late '80s. Early 90s. Simpsons kind of launched it in 88, 89. I digress. Fox became a juggernaut in sports. Their football show was the best. James Brown was pretty much one of the main reasons for it. And it was a big deal when he left. And he became like kind of a free agent.
Oh, he exemplified class.
Yes.
In a brutal game. He just kind of made you think like, oh, forget about all of it and just listen to that voice. And with T having his baby boy this week, I found out. We found out at the doctor's office what we were having for our first child. And I came from the doctor's office after being told I was going to have a son. My wife and I walked from the doctor's office, got on an elevator with none other than James Brown.
That's awesome.
And I mean, I am so full of emotion and blah, blah, blah. I just blurted it out. I said, I've met you before. I know you're friends with my dad. I'm having a boy. And good God, was he excited for me. He wished me and Aaron the best of luck. And he was laughing. A maniac walked in the elevator with him after hearing some fantastic news, and I know I argued with my wife the whole way home. James Brown Ricka sounds fantastic. It has to happen.
James Brown,
just happened.
You have a JD,
right? I know. So whatever. So it just became a moment, not a lasting name. But you know what? I could have named my son after a classier guy. I chose my dad, but you know what? James Brown was not a distant second after that happened. But we heard the news of Vic Oladipo this week tearing his quad, and it's awful, horrendous. But to see the NBA, that says a lot about him. A previous Tim Strachan Award winner, and all he talked about when he won that award was what a class act the young man was. And to see the NBA rally around him, Quinn Cook leading the charge, another WCAC guy. Man, he's obviously made a mark in this league with his level of personality and the type of guy he is off the court.
Yep.
I'll tell you what. I think I've talked about it before. When he played at DeMatha, he was a sixth man.
Yep.
He didn't even start. And every time he came in the game, Mike Jones called for an alley-oop dunk. I think after a while, teams even knew it was coming. They couldn't stop it.
Yeah, that baseline
the guy's
back
just
screen.
Unbelievable freak when it comes to athleticism. When he goes to Indiana and does what he does, and then he makes it to the NBA. Had some really good years in Orlando as a rookie. In the first couple of years, then he had that weird year in Oklahoma City, right? I just think it was weird. I just don't think he and Westbrook could coexist on the same team, at least on the star level. And then he goes and gets another opportunity to show what he can do in Indiana. And I think that's when people really realized how special he is or can be. And when the guy goes down like that and everybody rallies around it and talks about him and, supporting him, that just goes to show what kind of, not just what basketball player he is, but what kind of person he is. I've got a chance to get to know him a little bit, and he really is a super guy. I mean, just a super human being, and really praying for him to get better, man.
Well, a big game from Justin Moore with 25 points and 16 rebounds. Also, Justin Moore was selected as one of 5 guys listed by USA Today as the midseason player of the year in the Northeast region. A big deal for the DeMatha Hoop Squad over there. And Josh Wallace, our two-way guy that we love watching play football and basketball, has committed to UMass following Azir Abdul-Rahim, another local guy.
Aziz, man, it didn't take long for Aziz to offer like 50 people from the area.
Everybody in the conference, I believe, that started last year has got a one-way pass up to Amherst, I believe. Is UMass in Amherst, I believe?
Is it in Amherst? I mean, there is a college called Amherst.
True, but I believe UMass is located there.
Okay.
Possibly not. Let me digress. We were watching Jakia Brown-Turner play just a week ago. Not only herself, but Ashley Owosu from Paul VI, Jakia Brown-Turner from McNamara, both selected as female McDonald's All-Americans and will play in the game.
Whoa.
That's awesome.
It's a real big deal. It's a real big deal from this conference.
First ever from McNamara.
Is that a fact?
I believe
that's
is.
Unbelievable.
I believe that's a fact.
That's fantastic. She's obviously earned all of it. We saw her up close. She's every bit of it.
Yep.
Ashley Owosu, the Maryland commit. Brenda Freeze in the house the other night trying to snake another one. By snake, I mean just offer an amazing program right down the road. There's no snakiness to that. She's a class act. It was awesome seeing her sit in front row and center. It was also seeing McNamara roll out the red carpet and make sure she got prime seating to see these All-Americans go at it.
I couldn't help myself because I had a good, we could look right across the floor and see her. She was center stage, watching the game. And I would look over to watch her reaction to some of the things we were seeing. I mean, I knew I was seeing amazing basketball, and I knew I was seeing two programs at the highest level of girls high school basketball in the entire country. She had the look of the most enjoyment. She looked like she was enjoying every second of it. I kept looking over to see, like, okay, to see like the intensity or maybe the wheels turning, whatever. Man, I thought she was on the edge of her seat as much as anyone in that entire gym, and I could see there was a smile on her face. And I say that she's going to get her players, and whether she gets anyone from one of those two teams.
She's got Ashley Owusu coming.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the number 4 player in the nation. So
she's doing just
feeling
fine.
pretty good about things.
I just got a good feeling watching her watch the game.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, and I hate to use this analogy, like when we were young, there was people we knew a lot about the game, whether it was your dad or your uncle or your friend or whoever, and you would kind of watch the game to see, like, how are they reacting to this? What do they think this is as crazy as I think this is? And I would look over to Brenda's reaction to see to gauge that, and I did that maybe 5, 6, 7 times during the game, and I think almost every time she just had a huge smile on her face, like she was just enjoying the crap out of what she was watching, which made me even happier about just everything.
Yeah, made us all happy. 7,300 views of the game we covered the other night. Apparently, she wasn't the only one interested in the best high school
7,600
girls
as of
right.
76
as of Showtime.
Well,
what I found most amazing about that game that you guys did last week, and this plays into what you're talking about, is I think when St. John's plays, everybody has their eyes on AZ Fudd. We've given her plenty of respect on the show, and unfortunately, she had kind of a dud game, worst game of her career. But then all 9 other players on this court were playing quality, high-level basketball. It wasn't so star dominant, and it was so great to see a girls' game at that level where the star player does not have the night that you would expect her to, but everybody else stepped it up. That was what I thought was really interesting about that game.
And you also had a program like McNamara. A lot of times, if you play a team like St. John's with an AZ Fudd on it, we've seen it in the men's game at both high school and college with your Steph Currys and your guys that just take over the game. And we see programs dedicate 1, 2, and 3, and if you're Jimmy Patsos, 4 or 5 guys to guard one player. And McNamara had the luxury of putting Jakia Brown-Turner on AZ a lot, throughout a lot of the game, and Jakia was still able to get some points on offense, but God, most teams can't put a player like that on a player like AZ and get away with it.
Yeah, you put a McDonald's All-American on the number 1 sophomore in the nation, and then all of us get to eat popcorn and chuckle.
It's amazing.
So watching Madison Scott play help side defense, especially at the end where she got a piece of that deflection for the original game winner, it certainly helps to have a player like that. In help side. But listen, Malu Mutombo was the story of the night.
She really was.
She controlled the paint. Every rebound was ripped down by her. She made clutch free throws, and she played incredible with that senior backcourt with Carly and AC Cowan. That was just that's. I was dazzled by McNamara's athleticism, length, speed. St. John's at the end, that senior backcourt holding it together with experience. it was such a treat to be a part of. I forgot that we even did the game. It was as if we liked it to be. We were just sitting there talking about it as if we were sitting in the stands with our.
And I thought Mutombo's impact on the game was felt throughout, but to me, I thought her biggest contribution, if you could rank all the, she contributed materially all night long. So
she was awesome.
She was great. But when in the end of the fourth quarter and overtime, Scribner had her coming out high to set screens for AZ. And she wasn't doing that in the first half, or I don't even think the third quarter really. But she started coming out and setting high screens, and they were very effective.
They went to a 2-woman game.
Yes,
and they had their hot hand and their superstar. And isn't that's pretty nice at crunch time to have those two to be able to rely on.
Yeah, a lot of fun
with 2 spot-up senior guards that can knock down any 3, including one in front of the McNamara football squad with a little whisper over there. Alex Cowan that was hysterical. That was just part of the night, part of the atmosphere. Just like the young lady, the sophomore who got in the St. John's huddle. You got to love this stuff.
No, I think she's. I think
a senior.
Nia's a senior.
Right.
But she did. I was like, ooh, that's.
Yeah, it was a little
juicy.
Big time. There's some other big time stuff going on. Another freshman at Carroll. Freshman DJ Warmington ran an 8.31 in the 55-meter hurdles. That's his personal record. It makes him the number 7 freshman in the country in the 55-meter indoor hurdles. Anton Harrison, who's just been offered by Georgia and every other SEC team recently, has been through Carroll this week. He was nominated and he was chosen to play in the Under Armour 2020 All-American game they released. Gonzaga had Prentice Hub go nuts last night. Terrence Williams getting 30 points in a victory over Wheeler. Their squash team did lose to the Wakefield School in Landon, T. I know you were dying to hear about this when you were at the hospital.
We're not letting it go.
But their squash squad went 0-2 this week.
Don't have a squash squad and then lose to Landon and
right.
Wakefield?
Listen,
who did they lose to?
The Wakefield School in Landon.
They lost twice?
Yeah, apparently they squashed them twice.
Gonzaga got squashed twice.
Gonzaga got squashed twice this week. That's what I saw on Twitter. That's what my inside info has given me, and that's what my man on the scene has told me. Double squashing. Sorry, you made me get to that.
They need to step up their game. Don't be, is John Marshall? I mean, is Caleb Williams? I mean, is Josh? I mean, who do they got? I mean,
apparently they didn't throw a Hail Mary at the end of either one of those games. For
God's sake! It just makes me upset that you have a squash team and then you lose to Wakefield and Landon. That's terrible.
Yeah, go all in or all out.
It makes me upset.
Let me see if I can help you out here. I'll help you out with
this.
League play, I know one of your favorite players in the WCAC this past season. T, we got to cover him, and Ken was a big fan of Mordecai McDaniel over at St. John's.
Big fan.
Huge week for
Galloper.
Mordecai McDaniel.
If you're close enough to the field when he's running, you can hear his cleats just.
Yeah, he's a track star. He's been selected by the United States of America to compete wearing the red, white, and blue at the Reykjavik International Games. I mean, he's going to Iceland to run track, and that's what he wrote on Twitter. He said, I can't believe I'm going to Iceland. But, hey, that was just the first thing that happened to him this week because 2 days later and 3 days later, he took scholarship offers from the University of Michigan and Georgia as a safety. That's awesome. A pretty exciting week for a second semester junior. Trey Williams, St. John's standout defensive tackle, committed to national championship winning Clemson Tigers this week.
Champs.
Another big deal. We were talking about how Alabama kind of came in and took over last year. You kind of get the feeling that Clemson slid in this year and said, listen, we want a little piece of that conference up in D.C. as well.
They have a little swag in their step to be able to do that.
They certainly do. And Rakim Jarrett just got offered, was supposed to be down there. Something happened. He couldn't take that trip. He's going to in 2 weeks. So, yeah, now Clemson is ever present in the league.
Yes.
I mean, that's just so exciting that the 2 best programs in college football, bar none, I believe they're both have won in the last 5 years over 100 games and lost 5. I mean, that's just berserk. And now they're here. They're here to see what's up. And multiple offers all over the board. Very exciting news all across the place. And I didn't want to leave out that the Good Counsel Falcons have a young man named Blake Countess who will represent
that's right.
the WCAC in the Super Bowl on Sunday, a safety for the Rams. He's a guy who played and graduated from the University of Michigan, starting at safety, an all Big Ten performer. Took his extra graduate year and played an extra year in the SEC at Auburn, made the team in Los Angeles for the Rams, and he will be representing our conference in the Super Bowl, as
I
someone
thought-
usually does.
I thought he got jobbed. If you were watching the Rams Saints game, I believe he was I think it was a personal protector on the punt team for the Rams. Rams are punting from their own end zone, and they throw a flag, and it's a kind of a non-play. Nothing really good happens, but they throw a flag, and they got him for a chop block. But I guess in the NFL, I couldn't believe I watched this play. I'm the guy who they say they got Countess, and I was like, what are they saying? They got Countess? That's our boy. They don't got Countess. I must have watched that play 9 times, like just OCD obsessively trying to figure out. I mean, he barely touched the guy. Yeah, the guy was being blocked, and I couldn't believe that they threw the flag. He touched he definitely touched the guy who was in the process of being blocked by another player, and they threw that flag so fast. I was like, that's if they're gonna call that, and then you're gonna miss the pass interference play later in that same game. Thankfully, not on Countess. What is the NFL?
Did you have money on this game? Do you need a hug?
No, I didn't have $1 on this game, and let's whip around and start with T. Who's winning the Super Bowl, T?
Oh, who's winning it?
Who's winning it?
You're gonna come right at me with that?
I'm coming right at you with that.
Oh man, who's winning it? It's really, 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 really hard to go against the Patriots and Tom Brady.
It is. It's very hard.
I'm a believer in dynasties. I think they're good for sports, and there's a reason why they are what they are. I can't go against them, even though your beloved McVay and his newly revived Rams look pretty good.
Yeah,
I'm going to go with experience on this one.
Kev?
It is going to be a mudslide. It is going to be a trouncing. The Patriots are going to roll all over the Rams. I just got that feeling that it just doesn't make any sense for anything else to happen in my world. Todd Gurley is not 100%. Jared Goff has never, ever sniffed anything like what he's about to, what's about to happen to him.
I understand.
For the next 4 days. And it's a well-oiled machine right now. And
it is. I think you were the one who pointed it out to me, and I started paying more attention. And then I went back and watched the game over again. And I saw on Twitter, I don't know if it was Ross Tucker or if Ross Tucker was retweeting somebody else. They were like, here we are in 2019 with one of the most pass-happy eras in all of the NFL, and Bill Belichick comes out with 2 tight ends and a fullback, and just runs halfback leads. And you're like, wait a second, is this Gonzaga St. John? I mean, you're looking at a high school offense, and they're executing to perfection and doing 8-minute drives.
They were running lead. They were running power. They were running lead and power pass.
Ridiculous.
They took this offense back to Michael Armstrong said this was Maplewood in 1984.
It was all the way
it's what
back.
it was when you have a fullback all of a sudden, and you're just lining up in either double tight or I formation and running a series of plays that are just like if it was a cave in 100 million years, they'd come back and see these plays written.
Yeah. That was a Bill McGregor script. I mean, Tom Brady hands it off.
Yeah.
And then
power, counter, play action.
Yeah, and then all of a
Don't
sudden,
forget about lead.
Yeah,
they ran
lead.
ISO a handful of times at the goal line, and I was like, they're just running. They're running 34 lead.
And then all of a sudden,
amazing.
at the end of the game, you're like, wow, they can get third down to Julian Edelman anytime they want. But yeah, because the defense is completely believing everything about what's going on in that backfield. I'm a Rams.
Execution.
I'm gonna go Rams. I'm gonna be the one guy. I'm rooting for the Rams. I'm not putting a single dollar. If I have to bet on anything, smart money has to go in New England. But when I turn on that game, I'm rooting for Sean McVay. I think Todd Gurley's got something to give, and I don't think the Rams win otherwise. So I'm saying that he's gonna be there to get touches and be productive, because there's no way the Rams win without Todd Gurley. And I am a believer in a one-game situation. I'm a believer in defensive lines. I love the Rams' defensive line. It's good. It's really good. Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh in the middle of the field. I mean, that's a hell of a way to start. I mean, I know I'm just saying, I'll take those 2 guys up front in a one-game situation where the other team might try to be overpowering me. Can they do it against the Rams? Yeah, they can. But I would roll the dice. And you know what? a lot of money is getting piled up on the New England side, and rightfully so. And I think that's just going to make my Rams bet just look better and better as we get closer to the game.
Those defensive linemen better bring oxygen and
Oh,
an
yes.
extra pair of running
Oh, my
shoes,
God.
because that high-paced offense is going to have them going sideline to sideline, back and forth, up and down
All day.
And those 17-play drives beat the ever-living dog snot out of you, and they are superstars. And Aaron Donald might be the best football player in the universe right now. You're going to have someone that's going to.
But he can't play 45 minutes.
But he cannot. And
No way.
when you're getting 5 yards a pop, and when you're the most amazing team at getting 5 yards of play, well, hey, and call him check down Charlie, whatever you want, but no one's ever called Tom Brady that. When James White gets 13 catches, but Wade Phillips isn't going to sit back in quarters. He's not going to let that underneath game happen. It's just. That was part of the mismatch last week. But Look, Wade didn't show up dressed in Bum Phillips' hat and jacket, not ready to have something to pull out, and then talking about how he's been blowing up since his demo dropped. He's
right.
So far he's just robbing, and I'm adoring his Super Bowl presence. But I just don't think they have it in them. I don't think that they can, with Jared Goff, knock off these Patriots.
Let's. Do we have anything else you want to knock out before we call it a night on the spectacular?
I think we got all this. I would just say one thing.
Yep.
Bishop O'Connell is very impressive. 9 basketball players nominated for the McDonald's All-American game. 4 ladies and 5 gentlemen. And I just want to give one shout out to Brendan Leverone and Maura Leverone, brother and sister in conference, both nominated for the McDonald's All-American game.
That's awesome.
As seniors at Bishop O'Connell. It's pretty special. I'm sure that was a really special announcement in their household, really special for our conference. And shout out to O'Connell having 9 people nominated, and our conference had
our boy Jamal
conference
Banks.
had a ton. Yeah.
We can't wait to cover him in lacrosse. I don't want to forget Time Collins, the defensive back from McNamara. He had decommitted earlier this season. He did announce he's going to the Air Force Academy. I know when we watched him, we were impressed. He's a good player.
Yeah.
And I think the Air Force Academy is getting a great one. And I love, and I bore people to tears because I say the same thing over and over again, and I'll never stop saying it. I love when WCAC athletes go on to the service academies. It's a perfect fit. I mean, obviously, 7'1" DeMatha basketball players, they're not going to David Robinson. I don't think. I think that day is gone. But the WCAC is full of guys who are upstanding, raised right, coached well, seasoned at amazing institutions inside this conference, and our country is better when these guys go to places like this. So my hat's off to Time Collins. Good luck at the Air Force Academy. I'll be rooting for the Air Force Academy next season.
As will we all.
Yep. And someone who I've mentioned a lot on the show, but he I had a good long talk with him at McNamara. Quinn Osborne, the linebacker from McNamara. I feel like he's still growing. He said he's gained 10 pounds. He's up to 6'2", 210. He's looking bigger by the second. I didn't realize he went to McNamara to play basketball. I've never seen him play basketball before. I can believe it, obviously. And he's no longer playing basketball, so I look forward to watching what he does this offseason. I know he's getting himself ready for some camps. Appreciate you, Quinn. Thanks for watching, and thanks for supporting us. And of course, we support you right back. Kirby Smart was at 3 schools this week, I believe.
Good Counsel, Carroll, St.
John's.
Yeah.
And then Saban was in town as well.
Everyone was in town this week.
Everyone was in town.
Offers from LSU and Georgia and Clemson and Alabama are all over the place, but that's just what we do around here. So I don't even think that was newsworthy. I'm just kind of used to it at this point.
Number 1 story of the week. Welcoming the newest member of our family, Luke Stephen Strachan. T, we couldn't be happier for you, and we appreciate both you and Leslie allowing you to remote in for tonight's show.
Hey, man, I was planning on being there before this snow showed up. I was looking to have a reason to get out of the house for a minute and resume my normal life for a couple hours, but I'm glad I was able to do it by phone and got my little guy next to me, and it's been awesome, man. It's been awesome. Again, Leslie's been unbelievable. The kids have been great. The family, the friends, the outpouring of support and everything has been just awesome.
That's
so
crazy that you went back. You basically the government went back to work on the day your kid came home. I mean,
I mean, come
on vacation.
He's a prodigy child.
He is.
He's exceptional. He knows he did this on purpose.
He didn't come when you were having
a little bit more extended time at home. That's
your
all.
furlough vacation for the last 37 days.
Luke, he is your father, and he's talking Prodigy right now, and I love all of it.
So great. So
He's
great.
used the force to my advantage.
Well, until next week, which we will be back in the basement next Tuesday night ahead of our rematch against between St. John's and McNamara. On behalf of Kevin Ricca.
And real quick, last thing, St. John's Ice Hockey, girls in first place for the first time ever. Boys beat Gonzaga and DeMatha this week and are in fifth behind those guys for the first time ever. It's nice to see that because Gonzaga and DeMatha have been dominating ice hockey for eternity.
Yeah.
Let's have high tides raise all ships, and let's get this ice hockey thing going. Why not?
I talked to Commissioner Steve Colantoni this week. We're just not all the way there yet. I tried my hardest to be bringing you guys the championship this year in ice hockey. I promise you, next year you're going to get it. You're going to get it live, and you're going to get it with a game call, and we'll figure all of that out. I do know Monumental will be calling the ice hockey championship, so tune in. WCAC ice hockey is for real, and congratulations to the girls. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I love seeing it. I love seeing the expansion. We got a lot of friends that have been involved in the ice hockey game growing.
That community is as rabid and passionate as they come. And you know what? They better be. They're getting up at 5 o'clock every day, during the weekend on weekends to go.
Beastly parents.
And like driving 2 hours.
Student athletes.
It's beastly
awesome. Coaches. I
tip my hat to the parents, especially.
As do I. And I'm never gonna let my son play that sport because I don't know if I have it. I don't know if I have that in me.
Or swimming for that matter.
Wake up at 4 and go. Yeah. It's cold and sweaty. Cold and sweaty at 4 a.m. to me. Just I don't know.
And those pads. I mean, it's bad enough for the sports that we played. Of course, you guys, your helmets and pads were, provided by, the programs you played for. But, and all these other sports like lacrosse, hockey, all that equipment you got to buy. I mean, you're talking about kids who are growing every single year. I mean, it's like, when we went through that stage in our life when we moved to a new apartment every year for like 7 or 8 straight years. That's like these parents buying whole new sets of hockey equipment and lacrosse gear every single year.
I can't wait to go and watch and applaud and cheer on.
That's the only appeal for swimming. Speedo and a ride to the pool.
Oh, Jesus.
Come on.
Jesus.
He's Tim Strachan.
God, I didn't think you were ever going to get to me. And I never thought Kevin would go out on ice hockey. But anyhow,
I'm psyched about it, man.
I know. It sounds like you are. I'm glad you are. I am too. This is awesome stuff. No, guys, appreciate it. And hopefully I'll be there in person next week.
Look forward to that. I'm Ken Marangolo, and this was the WCAC Spectacular. Still live.
Still live.
Still live.